Hello, welcome to another episode of my thing. Um, Tonight I talked to Chen, a really good friend of mine. I've known him for many, many years. And unfortunately, the first 23 minutes of the session was recorded or streamed live with no audio. So I'm going to edit that out, which is a shame. It was interesting about the coronavirus. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the last 25 minutes or so, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
My next question would be, once this is over, assuming
Yeah,
that,
we're talking about the coronavirus.
yeah, assuming that human beings will learn something and industries will evolve or something will happen, what do you think, which industries and which habits or what opportunities, mainly on
On the business side,
high
you mean?
tech and business side, would emerge? Because I think it's a great opportunity for all sort of industries. So
It's
I have a couple
interesting.
of ideas and I want to ask
I've
you.
actually have thought about this. I think that from what my personal intuition, the travel industry is going to go through some kind of change, right?
What kind of change?
So, for example, the way that airlines have been operating, flights has been pretty much the same for many, many, many years, right? In terms of how you maintain the cleanliness of the plane, how you serve food, it's like there's a template that's been unchanged, right? The actual airplane changed significantly because it used to drop out of the sky, now it doesn't. But the service inside the plane, the way the people board, all of this is archaic, and I think that the airlines that are facing huge problems now because they're forced,
The one who's gonna survive, what's gonna happen to them? I mean, what do you refer to?
No, I think that
change. What do you think is gonna change?
No, I think that airlines are going to take another look at how they, how they transport people. What can they do so that when the next one hits, right? They can say, hey, you know what? You're safe on our airplane. If any airline today could have shown, hey, you know what? If you fly with us, you don't get infected, right? It would be making tons of money.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it can happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think that I agree.
And by
that
the way,
travel industry.
I think cruise ships are going to go out.
So here's what I think. I got a couple of ideas that I wanted to share with you. So on the travel industry, I'm not sure. I'll put it aside. But on the working from home,
right,
the remote office, I think that there's an opportunity that's going to emerge because it's so much against something which is so natural for us to meet face to face.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no replacement for look into your eyes,
right,
and feel something that none of the video conference systems can par with.
Yeah.
But I think that the fact that we're talking about millions of people, and if you saw WebEx announce that they give the service for free, and Zoom video communication, they doubled their valuation since December.
Yeah.
They're like $35-40 billion company now.
Right.
And some companies are not taking advantage, like Vonage, they do nothing because they're monolithic. I'm not saying I have friends I love there, so I'm not saying anything against them. But it's gonna let so many people experience the working from home, working remotely because they are forced to, which there's no way that you can force them to do that otherwise. And I'm talking about also between companies to work international. Now, when you talk about the company I work for, Google, I mean, it's so elementary to have a multi-region video conference, and yet people are traveling like crazy.
Right. So,
and this is now, I I'm not going to share too much, but we're not traveling now.
Yeah.
And all of the companies, of the big companies, have banned international travel.
Yeah.
And airlines are going to suffer.
Yeah.
Like I can't find a word.
Yeah.
Because those companies,
It's business travel.
they
yeah.
buy,
Yeah.
they buy, they pay.
They
a
buy
lot
the
of
only
money.
tickets that actually make money for their
Yeah,
airlines.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we are going to see.
Yeah. No, I think. By the way, for me, I'm flying Monday evening. I don't know yet, but last I checked today, I'm in row 36. The entire row is free. 3, 4, and 3. Entire row is free.
I think you can upgrade and take first class.
So United are assholes. So it's still $3,500 to upgrade, but we'll see. You know, maybe if I cough, they'll put me in.
No, if you tell them, you know what, if you don't let me fly business or first, I'm not flying with you, and then you're gonna cancel the flight. I mean, there's leverage now, but
I don't mind.
So working remotely,
right.
on a culture level, it's gonna be okay, and more than okay, it's gonna be a second habit for companies.
Yeah.
Even companies that don't usually, I mean, that they can't host you. So
Right.
I think they're going to be a model of taking a room at so-called WeWork for, you know, I work with a company that goes and meet retail stores,
Right.
fashion stores,
Right.
whatever in Europe. I mean, these guys, they don't have meeting rooms, but I think that it's going to be okay to move because the alternative, not the cost. They said, okay, we better not meet on January, February with people from China because God forbid where they have been and I mean, you know, something's going to change.
So again, telecommuting has been a thing really since the rise of the internet, right? Since the early 2000s, and some people have been telecommuting, right? And there's certain jobs and certain tasks and certain responsibilities that are relatively easy, right? If you look at, for example, the software industry, you know, a lot of people work from home, and yes, sometimes they come once a week or once every 2 weeks to have like a stand-up or have whatever a meeting, but and video conferencing definitely provides some solution, but I think what you said is true, that the technology is not quite there yet, right? You know, I think still the state of the art today is Cisco's teleconferencing room, where you have like, it's almost like being in a meeting because they have like these huge screens at the table and you feel like you're sitting across from the people. You've been in like a Cisco telepresence meeting.
Yeah, I think that
Google
what
has something very similar.
Google offers, or you know,
Cisco has like the hardware, right? So it's really good, right? It's like there's low latency.
But one question to add here for your thoughts is it gonna give the rise to a virtual reality, augmented reality? Like, let me help you create, like you will feel like you're sitting in my store, let me show you what's here, and you don't have to travel.
Right. So
it's not just let's sit in a room and talk, but let's feel like we're there without risking.
Right. Again, when it comes to business, I think virtuality is a no-go because there's a lot of novelty there, and you really need to narrow it down, right? Virtual reality is lots of flair and lots of you need augmented reality. However, it seems like it's hard. We're not there yet, right? What Microsoft has done with HoloLens is really good, but it's not there yet, right? You need to actually what you talked about, I don't want to dive into this, but you know, the previous video, and also Grisha and Almog were here yesterday, and we've talked a lot about, you know, the last video I talked about discrete versus non-discrete, physical versus metaphysical. Yesterday we talked about the transition, which is, I think there's no other word to describe it other than magic, right? Like, how does the transition work? How does something metaphysical influence or interact with the physical and vice versa? We don't know. We don't understand. Right? We don't have a way to describe this interaction. You know, Shiva and Shakti having sex. We don't understand how that happens. But when you sit across from someone in a conference room, this is what happens, right? There's dual transition that's happening. Because I'm in a meeting, right? Or right now we're talking, right? I have ideas in my head, which are non-discrete, which are metaphysical, and I have a process of downsampling, right? Sampling them into physical, discrete objects, right? Words, movements, these are all discrete objects, right? I either do them or I don't do them, and then I choose the words that I say. And this travels from me to you, right? It's my output, comes to your senses, right? Your senses pick it up, translate it back into a metaphysical object, right? Process it somehow, whatever, and then back again. And this process is what makes meetings valuable. This process is the definition of why, there are a lot of things that cannot be done with one person. You need more than one person. You need this process of back and forth. And when you do this through a video conference, you narrow this down to such a low bandwidth, right? That the screen with the pixels and the low quality audio, that it's not enough to make this transference successful.
But this is, I'm not gonna let you off the hook here, because if I would give you a 65-inch screen and an amazing audio system, you will still not be able to transfer this metaphysics something.
No.
What is this something, and can it be transferred?
So first of all, the metaphysical does not get transferred. That's what I'm saying. The transfer is physical, always, right?
What is it, the metaphysical?
Wait, no. Never mind. I'm just talking about the physical now, right? When I'm sitting in a meeting with you, the transference of information is physical, right? Information cannot be transferred metaphysically. It has to be translated into physical form to move, right? If I talk, it's waves of air that hit your ear, right? And you look at me and you see photons. It's physical, right?
Okay.
The question here is, can I replicate your sensory input in a way that's close enough to what is needed in a conference room? Why did I say AR? Because I'm sitting here, right? This is my home and I'm comfortable here. And if you weren't here, but I could feel as if you're here, right? I could see you sitting here. If I turn my head, I wouldn't see you. If I turn my head back, I can see you. And this goes both ways. And of course, the latency is low, because latency is a killer. Then we're getting close to where this is.
And do you think that would cross the chasm of awkwardness of not being on the same room?
Yes.
Smelling your breath.
So I think once we get across a threshold, which I think is possible, it's actually going to be so effective that nobody's ever going to want to sit in a conference room ever again. Because I would be able to sit in my underwear and be stinky, but appear to you as if I'm wearing a tie and look nice and and don't have stink. Right?
Okay, so what is
and
missing?
Everything's recorded.
What is missing in order to get there?
Lots of engineering. Again, the science is completely there, right? Like I said,
but is it a matter of HoloLens and Oculus and augmented whatever?
So engineering, and let's call it social acceptance, right? HoloLens, you need to put some shit on your face, right?
And also Oculus.
And also Oculus, right? And that's like it's awkward.
And this thing from Magic Leap,
right?
God forbid.
Yeah. And audio, by the way, is more difficult than video. Okay, audio is super complex. The way that the sound travels, right? It's super complex. You put a microphone. The microphone captures sound in one place. That's not how it works.
But I think that's something that people will find it relatively easy to compromise once they get used to something that will mimic.
Right. So I'm saying we need to get over a certain threshold.
Yeah. I want to take you. I hear it's very interesting, and I think you're right.
Just one more thing. I think that there's another route that's probably shorter and more effective, and that is reducing the need for meetings. Right? If you're working from home, and I'm able to somehow convey, to interact with you without the need for a human meeting, right? If, for example, I have a machine that's distributing tasks, right? The machine doesn't need to see. It doesn't fucking care what you look like. It distributes, it sends it to, some kind of machine learning process. It sends out tasks based on who completes the tasks better than others. It reorganizes them, and it's just sending out tasks and bringing them back, right? And then you get up in the morning and there's no human interaction. You get interaction with the computer screen that tells you what you are used to seeing, right? That navigates you in the right direction, that auto-corrects you when your behavior shifts, that grades you and monitors you. And, I think that's a shorter route. I think it's easier to do that and reduce people into small, just like worker bees, to just get tasks and get pulled back. Right?
Okay, so now let me ask you a down-to-earth question. Having seen what we see now with the COVID, with the corona and everything,
Yeah.
which company or companies, pick three, you would say these companies are going to thrive now because of the change that this will imply? Pick three companies. I'll pick mine.
Netflix,
Okay, I totally get it.
right? I think,
Okay, okay.
I think. By the way, I think their stock is soaring.
It's not
Okay.
falling too far, but
Again, I think the effect is a long-term effect.
I agree. Okay.
So definitely Netflix. I want to say Cisco.
Because of WebEx.
No, because of infrastructure.
Okay.
Right? Just again, something like this
Oh, yeah, that's right.
strengthens the internet.
Yeah.
It strengthens.
Okay.
And by the way, also again, this is not companies, but I think maybe not COVID-19, but maybe COVID-21 or 22. At some point, cryptocurrency is going to be the thing that makes the change. Yeah, decentralization, because. Again, it's not. Imagine you have a virus that's even more infectious and even more deadly, and you really have a shutdown, right?
Yeah.
How do you manage that? It's not just airlines; it's the financial systems and it's businesses, and then something decentralized, where I don't need to trust anyone, and I can do transactions, I can do anything, and it's safe because it's on blockchain. I think that's, but that's not a company.
So I'm very. My three companies would be Zoom video, which is like Cisco, but this is the easy one.
Yeah, Zoom suffered
Volt.
a terrible.
Volt, because this is the opportunity for Volt. The food
the
delivery.
Yeah.
That's their
Uber Eats.
That's their biggest chance to raise.
By the way,
the cost and turn profitable, because they're all losing money.
That's true.
But they said, would you pay the extra 20 shekels not to go anywhere and get into your quarantine?
Right, but again, you say Volt, but the big honcho there is Amazon, right?
So if you say industry, I would definitely say delivery and automation of delivery and automation and outsource of food processing.
But not just food, no. Retail?
Everything.
Retail.
I agree.
Retail is still 90% of consumer. And online is 10.
So if I had to choose, I would choose Volt, because they're not public yet, and because this is their chance to turn profitable and to soar.
Right.
And the third one, I will follow what you have said. It's less creative, but I would go with Monday.com.
Right. Yeah.
Because every company that helps,
Monday.com is different.
It helps. Diversified, whatever, sporadic, work, and automate it in a way that let the machine help you.
Right.
You don't need to meet, because everything is task oriented. Whatever, I don't care where you are, as long as you do your work.
Yes.
But
Monday I think Monday is actually one of the better ones. But just like we talked about augmented reality, I think that the whole business of task management is in shambles, right? It's not, without constant human care and focus, right? You can't do this without a scrum master, right? You can't. It falls apart. You need somebody in big teams. You need 3 people just doing this, right?
Yeah, but I think it's an opportunity to go where you have mentioned, to automate it in a smart way that will automate like AI wise.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's,
Like I will help. Like I'll be your nanny.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'll be your scrum master.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
again, I think if a large part of your workforce is remote and compartmentalized, then you can really pass it through some kind of optimization algorithm. It's sad for
But
people.
I think that on the food industry,
Yeah,
this whole Uber Eat and the virtual kitchens and stuff, I think that's gonna, boom.
Yeah,
And the whole,
did we talk about? No, we didn't talk about. What's the name of that company? Something Kitchen. The guy who founded Uber.
Okay.
Has started something which is like a virtual kitchen, not a virtual kitchen, but like a timeshare or like you
Really?
share kitchen, yeah. So
Travis?
yeah, so you can basically it's like it's a really well equipped kitchen, and you can come in as a vendor, and and basically you have distribution through there with Uber Eats and whatever.
I saw.
Yeah, I think again the thing with this is that you do have. What comes into play is a high risk job, right? A high risk position where you're the person traveling and bringing people their food, right?
So you need to automate that. There's a company with the robots that
right.
goes on the street.
Right. So that's where I was going. Is that if you look at that and you take this one step further, then you say, okay, where the hell are autonomous vehicles, right?
Yeah.
And everything.
Definitely, that's going to give it.
Yeah.
But so I have to tell you something about it, but I can't tell it on the record, so we'll have to wait. Because something that really made me very excited this week.
Yeah.
Something that I don't think it's going to happen, but the idea.
Okay, don't tease.
All right. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll tell you next time. All right, let's move.
Yeah. It's well again a lot of it was muted, so that sucks.
All right,
but,
we'll add it.
But we've been live.
It's really interesting. We can talk for hours about anything.
Yes, I know. But I think maybe that's enough for. Oh, we have viewers. Oh my god. I wonder who? No, I don't know. Maybe it's really hard to tell if you have viewers or not. Oh yeah, we've been on for 45 minutes, I think, out of which about 20 were with audio.
That's nice.
So yeah, it sucks that we missed because it was an interesting conversation about the spirit of coronavirus and the idea behind the way that fascist regimes control. By the way, one of the things that it stopped in China, it's gone, right?
Yeah, also in Singapore. My friend lives in Singapore.
Yeah,
I said, "Are you under Corona panic?" He said, "No, it's over."
Yeah, no, but Singapore never had a lot of patients.
Yeah, they have.
In China, today they had 0.2% increase in number of. It's like it's gone. It's a trickle, And
Monday they're all back to work.
And they quarantined something like 65 million people.
It's unbelievable,
right? And only China. And when I think, because now if you look at the graphs, so China looks like this, right? It's plateaued, right? Look at and it goes like this, and then plateaus, right? The U.S. is like here, right? It's like it's spiking up now. Like the exponent is there, and I'm thinking, what in the hell can the U.S. do to stop this? Then the answer is absolutely nothing, right? How can you quarantine Americans? It's so hard.
It's against
right,
everything.
right. Yeah. So I think. And by the way, Italy is a good example of a European country that got it and it's just spreading like wildfire, right? And it's already in France and in Germany and in Spain, and it's just people traveling. There's no borders, and it's how can you control it? You don't have the Chinese control mechanisms where there's a big sign, speaker in the street that says "Don't be here," and everybody stay off the street because you're gonna get shot, And I think that's why they say that it's going to affect 4 hours.
I think that the only real democracy, that actually controlled its population is Israel. And it's an extreme.
I don't know if I agree with the definition of Israel as a real democracy, but that's a completely different perspective.
I agree.
And by the way, even Israel, I don't know if you saw, but there was I saw a video on Ynet. this guy who was supposed to be under house quarantine,
Right.
and health officials or health whatever
Yeah.
inspectors came to his house, and he was like angry and he cursed at them, and then he went and he sneezed on them like
On
purposefully, you know, and they were like, "Oh, motherfucker," you know. And in the States, if something like this happens, this person is going to be indicted for attempted murder and put in jail, you know, immediately. And here they're like, he's crazy, and they went away. And there's another video, I think, on Facebook, where you see, and they're wearing all this protective gear, and they're doing house calls, right, to see the people are under house quarantine. There are. They go and they know there's nobody. They call the phone's disconnected. And they're like, okay, another one is not here. You're gonna have to go to the police and file a report. But it's like there's nothing you can do. So even in Israel, I think the mentality here of what we in Hebrew is like sociomatim, right? Sociopaths. Where people are like, fuck everyone. If I have it, I want everybody to have it. You know, it's like I don't care about other people. So this is like something that's really dangerous here. You know, and of course the Lechem now is under. But they found like 2 cases. They quarantined the entire city. So the Palestinians, because they're under military regime, they actually have it better. So
I was talking to my Santa Claus. I was talking to a friend of mine who came back, and from a conference abroad, and I was like, "Are you going to quarantine yourself?" He said, "I'm taking from the U.S." But he was okay.
Yeah.
He didn't need to.
No, you don't need to.
I asked him, "Are you going to quarantine yourself?" He said, "Yeah, I'm taking the train on the way to the quarantine." And he was actually on the train. I said, "This is typical. I mean, like it."
Yeah,
it's fine. I'll take care of that. I'll spread it over, and then I'm gonna.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I think we had enough of the corona.
Thank you for doing this.